And to you, good day, Mayor Karen.
Good day, sir. And welcome to Right
Fucking
Now.
We're not going to lie to everyone. We just recorded one episode and we're recording another.
That's why we have the same clothes on. But we switched sides
Yeah.
just to, change it up.
Change it up a little bit.
In case you're binge watching.
What
So,
are we
Jen-
doing for our thumbnail?
Oh.
A little like lean in? That seems cute.
We've been doing our thumbnails up front. So if you're listening, you're like, why is there this dead air time?
It's us making the beautiful thumbnail for the episode.
Yeah, so if you want to see what we're doing behind your back, maybe check us out on YouTube. So John, tell us what's happening. What are you passionate about sharing?
I am so juiced. This is why we had to do a second episode in a row, because I got this topic that really popped with me. And like I was talking about in the last episode, sometimes you hear stuff and you can even repeat it backwards, forward several times, but until it clicks in at certain moments and you're like, holy fuck, I understand. I am experiencing it. And I had this realization with the idea of experiments and the core concept in quantum physics that you cannot separate the experimenter or the observer from the experiment itself. There is no such thing as an objective experiment. Every single experiment is subjective. And I'll qualify that by saying all truths are true. You don't believe that shit? Fuck yeah, then it's bullshit. Throw it out, hop on another channel. There's another channel who's speaking what you prefer. But the Double-Slit Experiment, which is one of the most foundational studies of quantum physics, which I could detail if we're interested, I don't know, but it basically proves that when someone is observing the experiment, it changes the outcome of it.
Yeah.
And
Schrodinger's cat.
yes, all of them.
Yeah.
This is the one I was rewatching Dr. Joe's movie Source again, and he mentions this specific study. I think it's pronounced Rene Peoc'h. I might be pronouncing it wrong. There's an apostrophe in his name.
I think it's Peach.
I like that. Good old Rene Peoc'h. I think he was a French researcher maybe. But anyway, the basic premise of it is there was an arena with a robot that drove around in it, and the robot was programmed with a random event generator, so it would always make random turns through this enclosed arena space. They let the random robot run in the first baseline experiment. It covers, the space roughly 50% of the time. It's here, there, it's moving around completely randomly. The area it covers is averaged out to be the same.
On one half of the arena and the other half.
Yes.
Yes.
And the arena as a whole, but the halves. Was the core to looking at this. So then they take baby chicks and hatch them next to the robot. So as most people know, baby chicks seem to imprint on whatever they're around when they hatch generally and think it's their mother, whether it's a person or their actual mother, or in this case, a robot. So then they reconduct the experiment, putting the imprinted chicks at one end of the arena and start the same robot running the exact same program. And this, we'll see how it comes out, is the results. And if you look at number A, the top one was the random event generator with no chicks in the cage. And B, the one below, is what the path of the robot was when there were chicks in the cage. And as you can see, when there's chicks in the cage, with basically their intention focused on calling their mother, or the robot, which they think is their mother, back towards them, the randomly programmed robot stops behaving randomly. It clearly skews towards the half of the arena that the chicks are located in.
Yep.
And that for me was like a holy shit. It's like a physical, quantifiable experiment proving what the double-slit experiment already mathematically proves at a quantum level is now proved at a third density actual experiential level. You can't fucking conduct an experiment that proves anything other than your own intention.
Yes.
The experimenter's intention on the outcome is gonna change it. And it's interesting to see that intention might be unconscious as we're really playing this game of really becoming conscious of what we're unconscious of. But either way, as everyone says, we're creating our own reality. So obviously, how could an experimenter separate themselves from their experiment? They really can't.
That's so cool. And I was thinking about, the intention if you don't know what your intention is, look at your results, because it's unconsciously that is your intention, because having is evidence of wanting. And even though you're like, I don't want this dead end job or this crappy boss, well, you have it. So unconsciously you want it. So a lot of the work is getting comfortable with that. Like, okay, why do I want it? Or what does it feel like in my body when I have it? And just really starting to enjoy that. We talked about this in the last episode. Enjoy the sensations of what you have. And then you can consciously create. Like, wouldn't it be fun to try this instead? Like, play with it. Like, wouldn't it be fun if?
That is such a fucking cool point. If you don't know what your like intention or focus is, look at your fucking reality and then realize, oh, that's what my focus is. An interesting concept or definition to fine tune here is Abraham uses the term focus and the idea of like, there's no such thing as no, which we all know. Whatever you're looking at, you're calling towards you. So she uses that idea of focus to be the definition of whatever you're spending most of your time looking at. So the definition of intention I use is basically conscious focus versus unconscious focus. So obviously in this experiment, the chicks are focusing on their mother and they have the intention, I want my mother by me. So they're like, I guess it could be unconscious focus, but really intention is consciously picking your target and then focusing upon it versus, as Abraham says, if you have what is itis and you're just looking at what's occurring in your reality all day long and responding with knee-jerk reactions, that looks terrible, I'm gonna feel awful, that looks great, I'm gonna feel great. You're just regurgitating same scenarios over and over again. It's not, sometimes people are like, I don't want that, like why would I create that for yourself? And then you realize, oh, it's just a matter that I've been looking at it, and actually by saying, I don't want that and looking at it, that response alone is enough to call another regurgitative cycle of that forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the subconscious mind and the universe, they don't hear the words no or anything negative like I don't want, I can't, I don't know.
Yeah. I was re-listening to our episode, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, where we were really commenting on the ultimate badass state, at least I was, is one where people are in horror or crying, they're in all these lowered emotions, and you're like, circumstances don't matter, only my state of being matters. Shout out to Bashar. I prefer to be in a positive state of being because that's what I prefer, and it's unconditional love. I unconditionally love elevated states, I unconditionally love myself. So regardless of people screaming horror, fear, this, that, and the other thing, I'm in a state of happiness and laughter. And that is conscious creation then, as opposed to regurgitation. It doesn't matter what I'm seeing, it doesn't matter what's happening around me. I'm intending, like the chicks, whatever my target is. It could be a person, it could be money, it could be a trip, it could be whatever that is. It doesn't matter if people are saying, oh, the economy, oh, the airline's always sold out, oh, there's a million reasons, which are just my own thoughts of doubt being reflected to me through people, if you consider that perspective. It's for me to decide, basically there's no reaction to that. I'm already blissed out by looking at what I prefer.
Yeah, and you can be blissed out no matter what's going on.
Hell yes.
That is the mastery, is like, okay, how do I stay? How do I stay in my center, stay with my intention, no matter what's going on around me? Otherwise, we're, like you were saying, like reactive and putting out fires. It's like, that is the big way the ego will come in and distract you from what you're here to create. Because if it throws all this stuff at you and you're reacting to it, putting out fires, and then you're exhausted. There's no energy left to put toward your vision.
Yeah, beautiful. And what that's reminding me of, Rupert Spira, who I've mentioned a few times, and I may have mentioned his definition of ego before, but he says the ego is basically your consciousness misidentifying itself as a separate body alone in this world of threats, needing to take physical action to respond to it and keep itself safe. And because the perspective we're having right now is we're looking out through this separate body, navigating this world with threats, our consciousness, which is God consciousness, source consciousness, is confusing itself as this. And that's what he defines the ego as. And he says you have the ego death is basically realizing, holy shit, I'm a creator in my own creation. This whole world is me. And by placing my focus on things, I wind up creating that experience for myself. So even though I'm looking out through this body, I'm not this body. I am this whole world. And then there's essentially like, if you can maintain that state continuously, no matter what's happening, the ego gets smaller and smaller until it dies. And the ego is just the misperception of what I am and where I am and what's happening around me. So holding that state, a like egoless state, might be one where you're like, it doesn't matter what's happening around me.
Yeah.
I'm the creator of my own reality, and I like being happy, so I'm just gonna be happy.
Yeah, and if you don't like what's going on in your reality, you can do the Course in Miracles thing and say, choose again. I don't like this. What would I rather have? Like, so let's choose that.
Yeah.
And it's that easy when you remember to do it. Like, okay, it's like we talked a few episodes ago about stop, drop, and roll.
Yes.
Like if you're in like one of those states and you're on fire and you're like, catch yourself complaining or being a victim or whatever, it's some kind of state you don't like, stop. Just stop and say, oh my gosh, I caught it. And then celebrate that you caught it. And like, what would I rather experience? Okay, let's play with that. Let's create it. It is that fast. You're never stuck.
You're never stuck.
I remember years ago, my niece got married to this guy that lived in a different state. And they had this relationship, you know, flying back and forth. They never lived in the same state. And she's like, what if this is a mistake? I said, you're not stuck. Then you choose again. You come back. Like, so what? Because she moved to a different state. I'm like, so what? Like, so many people are so afraid of making a mistake, they don't do anything. It's like, do something. You'll get clarity. Like, oh. And it ended up being great because she had a kid by someone else, and this guy's parents are still the grandparents to her son. I mean, they fly out there all the time.
I love that.
And yes, they're divorced, right? That kind of was implied, but so what? It wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
This guy got a set of grandparents that he never would have had.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the Goo Goo Dolls song where there's a phrase, you're never gonna live if you're too scared to die. They make it rhyme. I guess that quote's been said many times, many ways, but it's true. If you're like afraid to take any step, you're gonna realize I never lived. I was just thinking stuff over. Plus, like we were talking about in the last episode, if you say, what if this is the worst thing that happens to me? It's really only fair if you stop for the equal amount of time and say, what if this is the best thing that ever happened to me? And then also, I always go back with the idea of change, always go back to Bashar's fifth law. Change is the only constant except the first four laws, which basically just say I'm an infinite, indestructible creator of my own reality. So sometimes like the idea of divorce or like changing jobs or like the collective conscious is like, how much can you stay in the same place the same time? We validate not changing. That's like the most valued thing. Although we clearly see that shifting with the younger generations. I heard of some companies that are run by really young people who will see someone who's only had one job and be like, the fuck's wrong with you? Like, you're not the kind of employee we want if you only have one job. And it's so interesting because a CEO who's 80 would probably be like, you've had 10 jobs, what the fuck's like wrong with you? Neither perspective being right or wrong, but the idea, if you're resisting change, you're fighting the structure of existence itself, and you can enjoy the experience of fighting change to then experience reality fighting you. But it's so smooth and easy to decide anything that happens, anything that changes is benefiting me because I say so, and lean into it and know it and play the what if game with how, I wonder all the ways this could benefit me, and start imagining that, and then watch reality, which is meaningless, reflect that meaning back to you.
Yeah, and most of the time, if we do something we think that was a mistake, we can't see the benefits for sometimes years to come. But looking back, you can say, oh my gosh, this other thing that I love, that's made me who I am, or that's the best thing that ever happened, only happened because I chose that way.
Oh, yes.
But it's in the moment, for me, it's like trusting, like I don't know why this is working out for me or how this is working out for me. I just know and trust that it is working out for me. Because everything is. It's a law. Everything is always for me. So like Bashar says, so who cares what happens?
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Trust the unknown. Shout out to Dr. Joe. When he's saying trust the unknown repeatedly in his meditations, it doesn't only mean in this meditation, trust the blackness. I carry that into real life every day. Trust the unknown. Well, shit, this is weird. This is unusual. This hasn't happened before. that's the unknown. Something new is finally happening. As a kid, we would live for that, right?
Right.
We'd be exhilarated for something new. Now,
A field trip.
yeah,
Oh my
field
gosh,
trip,
I
field
can't
trip
sleep.
day. Fuck
Yes.
yeah. I love
Christmas
that.
morning, like you never knew.
Oh, yes.
Unless you peeked, right?
Yes.
But what's interesting, the reason Dr. Joe has to say that so much, like trust the unknown or the unknown has never let me down, is because the subconscious mind is wired exactly the opposite. It's wired anything unknown, anything out of your comfort zone, anything you've never done before or experienced before, it wires that. The message you get is this is dangerous because it doesn't know if you're going to survive.
Yeah.
So it takes the conscious effort to lean into the unknown. And what supports a lot of my clients in this type of work is like, when is another time in my life where I felt this emotion, where I was scared, and it worked out really well? So if you can kind of give your subconscious mind like a little security blanket, like, look, we've done something like this before, and we're not dead. It's all good.
Yeah.
And the chances of us becoming dead, that's all it cares about, like, as if you're dead or not. It wants to keep you alive. The chances of us becoming dead by, going live on Facebook are very slim.
Yeah. That ties like right into that misperception of ego, like I was talking about earlier too. If you carry that same concept in, I'm a separate self that could be harmed and died. It's a valid perspective, but it's like an illusionary perspective, or that's my truth. Once you realize, oh shit, I'm creating my own reality. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
It's all me. You could just totally chill out and relax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life is good. 'Cause I say so.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like a game of Simon Says with yourself. Everything you say, it just is.
It just is.
And everyone has to do it,
Yeah.
because you said.
People, I love that phrase. Well, saying it doesn't make it so. Actually, if you believe it, then it does. Like, it's all beliefs. And like you were saying before, you're never stuck. There's this great Bashar episode where this lady gets up and is just spewing limitations. Every statement she makes, he's like, nope, that's a belief. She's like, well, I'm stuck. And he's like, nope, it's a belief. You're never stuck unless you decide to believe. And then he's like, you can change it. And then she goes, well, easier said than done. And then he's like, that's another belief. And then she says something else to that. And he's like, that's another belief. He's like, when are you going to understand? He's like, what do I have to do? And she's like, I don't know. What do I have to do to understand? And he's like, well, you're the consciousness. So you tell me what permission slip you want. He's like, do you want a pet turtle? Do you want to like burn sage? Do you want to meditate? Do you want to like do a dance? He's like, every process is a permission slip. And he's like, they're designed for a reason. Like the permission slips that resonate with you or what you've decided is what's going to give yourself permission to change. So like, tell me what permission
slip to people that don't know Bashar.
Yes. So if you don't know Bashar, he claims because we are God in our own reality composed of ourself, that we can choose to change anything in ourself or anything in our reality at any time because there is no creator outside of us. So he identifies any process, any object, any experience that you think will enable you to change as part of this umbrella of permission slip, which is basically you saying, if I burn this sage, if I meditate, if I dance, if I chant, there's endless
have
permission
a crystal,
slips.
take
have
this
a crystal,
pill,
exactly. Take this pill, like
read
the placebo
this book,
effect,
or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
Karen.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, anything that's going to result in a change for you is a permission slip. You've decided as the creator, doing this is going to change something, but really it's only you making the change. And as he recognizes, everything is valid, so use those permission slips. And perhaps if you're conscious every time you use one, he posits the ultimate state is, whoa, I realized I'm actually one making the change. And then you just decide in an instant, this is who I am right now because I say so. I no longer need a process or a crystal or a chant or a meditation to make the change.
So you put down the toy and pick up the book.
Fuck yeah, I don't know. I was like, I'm not sure I got that. But fuck yeah, I'm gonna build you up.
It's like you graduate. It's like the child that just like puts down the toy and picks up the book because they don't need the toy anymore. It's like once you don't need the thing, and you never needed it, but use it if it's working for you.
Yeah.
You know, like doctors, like we're not saying don't ever go to the doctor, don't take the pill. Take it, but know that you are the placebo, right? It ties exactly with Dr. Joe's book.
Yes.
Like your mind can create every chemical you need. Your body can create everything. Your body can heal itself. Your mind can heal itself. But sometimes you need other things or other people to support you. Like we have all kinds of teachers in our lives that support our knowledge, and then we practice the things that resonate with us, and then we report back here. What worked, what didn't work.
That's fucking awesome. You were just jogging my memory. So not only I'm like excited to look at this every morning and be like, look,
Yes.
Dr. Joe and several others have so much research again proving that all sorts of chemicals can be released through thought alone. Mm-hmm. Someone sitting with their eyes closed with an intention and an emotion dump all sorts of chemicals that are identical to the chemicals you take in a pill, but you're producing them through thought alone. So again, it's that intention, like there's no separation, there's no objective anything. It's all my creation, or your
Yes.
creation, or everyone's creation for themselves.
I love it so much.
So empowered.
I'm ready to go play.
Yeah, me
In
too.
the universe.
And I leave with the final thought then, which is what it all comes down to. No one can exert any influence or power over me without my own decision to match that intention of theirs. They can say like, I'm going to do you wrong or I'm going to do you right. And until you accept,
just,
believe,
I'm
and
gonna do
surrender.
you.
Yeah.
I didn't throw any of them in this episode. I had to get it in.
Fuck yeah, we got to
Slip
get
it
one in. Slip it in.
And I interrupted you.
It was perfect. It'll make the point more memorable. No, that was the point made.
Excellent.
You believe it? It is.
There it is.
Yeah. Boom.
And
This
I
was
believe
fucking
someone
awesome.
is going to do me.
Oh, yeah.
It's my belief.
Oh, snap. You want to give tips to our audience? Maybe he's watching.
Tips on how to do me? Well, maybe in another episode.
Boom. That'll be the
Uncensored.
uncensored version. The NC-17
You have to pay for
version.
that one.
It's on OnlyFans. Boom.
Yes, John. Well, thank you so much for watching and listening to
Right.
fucking
Now.
baby.
Peace.